My name is Chappell Roan. I'm your favorite artist. I'm your dream girl's dream girl. And I'm gonna serve exactly what you are.
You gotta wonder, will I disagree or concur? Because it's deep dive time. Let's go. Mike's on. Hot takes ahead. Big box, bigger brain threads. First play. Are you all aboard? Welcome to the track record. Let's have some fun now.
Hello. We have Aditya M in the house.
Hello, everybody.
Aditya, would you like
I
to
don't know.
introduce yourself? Go ahead.
I would me and Vaishnavi, we were just like talking, and like we literally just like the sentence that came out of her mouth was like just two anxious people together on a call, and that's like exactly how I would put it. That's exactly who I am. So, and like I followed it up with, I hope that translates into just that and nothing else. So yeah, just like everything that comes out of her mouth, we're just two anxious bitches here on a. Are we allowed to cuss?
Don't worry, if I'll
Okay,
just like cut out the
take care of
voice
it.
later. But we'll still, you can cast.
Keep it
It's
to a
fine.
minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we can cuss. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I don't know. Great. So yeah, two anxious bitches talking about. Oh, what are you,
Chappell
Vaishnavi?
Roan!
Is what we are talking about today. Oh my God. Mother Queen. Oh my God. The artist that we bow down to. The chaos that we love, and other such adjectives. So, oh my God, let me just get right into it. Otherwise, we'll be here the whole day because we love talking. But
For sure.
honestly, my first section of this interview would be just to help other people also realize who Chappell Roan is really. So let's start
Mhm.
here. If someone has only heard Good Luck Babe on their reels or perhaps on the radio or seen a viral clip of her live shows or even the mess of the politics she portrays, especially on TikTok, what would you
Yeah.
want them to know about Chappell Roan really as an artist, as a person, and as a performer?
I mean, since you literally just did like a Lady Gaga episode, I would just say that like Chappell Roan is the next best artist in terms of artistry after Lady Gaga, I suppose. Like, or that's just like at par with her. Not that it's a competition or anything, but like I think like when you think of Chapel and the imagery that she just creates in someone's mind, like it just goes to Lady Gaga and how she just like created her own path of just like music and just like artistry again.
Why I ask you that question specifically is because the more I researched about Chapel more than the music itself, the more I heard conversations of people being annoyed by her, which I never understood
Mm.
personally because all the controversies that are about her, I'm always like, people are just trying to tone police her. Which in today's day and age, after having the incidents we had with Britney Spears, it's just so icky to me at least. So, what are your thoughts about that specifically?
I definitely get that because like the funniest part about all of this backlash is like she's just trying to establish boundaries, and people are just annoyed with that because people have no sense of personal boundaries, or like they end up creating this parasocial relationship with every single celebrity out there. So one of them is like outrightly just denying all of that like from them. I think like it's just this evident like what happens then, I suppose.
I get
That's
you. I get you. And we'll get into the nitty gritties of it later on, but we're trying to establish Chapel Roan as a persona first. So, it brings me to this one question. As fans, when did you actually think that, oh, no, this is the moment I know this is the artist I want to follow? Like, how did you first discover her? What was that moment or song that made you go, like, stop and be like, wait, she's doing something special here. She's cooking here, basically.
I think I am one of those annoying people who take pride in like knowing Chapel before she kind of blew up. I also did not know about her for a very long time. Like I got to know about her in like December of 2023 when this YouTuber was reacting to her music, and I was like, oh, interesting. And it was a straight cis white man reacting to her music, which made it all the more interesting. So I was like, this person sounds interesting. So I should probably give it a listen. And so I did. And that changed everything. I knew I was a fan like since like the first ever song that I heard, Phenomenon. I heard the bridge. Ladies, you know what I mean? And you know what you need. But does it happen? No. But does
But
it
does it
happen?
happen?
No.
No. What do you really need
What
is
you need is a phenomenon. A what?
Phenomenon!
Oh my God, I never know how to
Exactly.
pronounce it correctly, but I get you. The
Phenomenon.
iconicry of that. Oh my God. I was a little
Iconic.
basic about that because I discovered her after Casual came out, the music video. A friend of mine sent it to
Mhm.
me. I was like, oh my God. Still
Crazy world. Crazy, crazy world.
we are clearly
It's
too
Chappell's
chronically
world that we're
online.
living in.
And we're too
Yeah,
chronically online anxious kids here.
exactly.
Oh my God. But yes, it's Chappell's world. We're just living in it.
Absolutely. No, but like for real as well. Like she has just carved this entire world. Like when you think Chappell, there is this very distinct this color like theory that comes into your head that is just like so distinctive and just so her
That was
so drag.
I know, right? Oh my God, that was literally my next question. Like, what it's gonna be was like, you followed her for a while. So, what do you think is at the heart of Chappell's artistry? Is it like, is there a core idea or emotion that she returns to sonically or visually? Because one thing that all of us can directly see is the drag behind it. Do you know a little bit more history about it? Because I have been researching about her, but I think someone who has found her artistry so organically, I think they would put it in a better perspective than me any day. That's why I have you here.
I mean, I just don't want people to think that I'm just like lifeless nobody who just like like I am the person who was talking about like having a parasocial relationship with like celebrities. But no, it's just like this person like really intrigued me. I do not know this much about let's say Gracie Abrams or like all of these newer pop girlies. But Chappell Roan I absolutely personally wanted to invest into because first of all, queer icon and again, her like iconic drag look obviously is so intriguing. I like to talk about history. I mean, like Chappell has been in this industry for like 10 years now. I think that's a very established fact. But and her persona back then was like very just like any other white girl. I don't know if that is like the right way to put it, but that's how she has described it herself. So and yeah, like I think like through the entire like rise and fall of Midwest Princess, like the album, it leads a very distinctive storyline. Like if you heard it properly, you would be able to tell exactly what her story has been without necessarily deep diving into the like social media like rabbit hole of it all. Yeah, like how the song California talks about her literally she was on the verge of leaving the whole scene before like right before she made this album, and it simply wasn't working, so she was like, I'm just gonna change everything. I love drag. I'm just gonna put it all out there as it is. I'm gonna be brave, I'm gonna be bold, and it worked out for her. So yeah, I think that's such a beautiful, I don't know, portrayal of queerness.
I get you. And you know what? Off late, I've seen a lot of people being skeptical about it. They're like, oh, she was not doing it before. Then she just picked up track because it was a good tool to have, so to speak. But honestly, I don't think that's that in like, it's not that performative when it comes to Chapel, given how much she is vocal about things, how she always platforms other drag artists wherever she goes. So, like, I don't think it's performative, honestly. So, that bravery speaks to so many queer people out there. And the goodness about her music that I find, because I have a lot of straight friends around me as well, different conversation, but even they are able to connect to that because it's just so vulnerable at the same time. Even if you don't relate to queerness and queer struggles, you can always connect to a struggle of a young person trying to figure out who they are as a person. It's I think, still universal. So that universality of her music speaks to a lot of people still who are our age, I guess.
Absolutely.
So, like, my next question still is around that arena of thought, because Chappell at the end of the day still is a stage persona, even if I don't think it's so viciously performative as people go about it, but I do still feel Chappell is a stage persona, and I think she has been vocal about it still, because the girl behind it is just Kayleigh. So how do you think she navigates that split between self and spectacle? Because she has outrightly said that she has bipolar disorder, and how the fame has worked out against her as a person and someone who wants to create art. So does a lot of time it feels like maybe she is not in control of that boundary, or is it like getting blurry? What are your thoughts about this?
Um, I think like what we talked about earlier, like how boundaries, like this girl has been one for boundaries since day one, I think. She has established very well like what is on stage and what is off stage, who is Kayleigh versus who is Chappell, and like I think it's just such a beautiful like it's a, like a Hannah Montana circle moment kind of like I think like is the wig like how like her iconic Chapel wig is just like so like I mean I love her hair as well, but like obviously like they are very distinct by themselves, and I think like just like who she is when she removes the wig is just like very evident. Like she like on TikTok, I think like her personality, while they intertwine a lot, obviously. Like they're like obviously still the same person at the end of the day. But I think she has navigated the entire thing so gracefully, I would say. Obviously, there have been like she's still young and she's figuring it out like the rest of us. But I think it's very well needed how she has established so many of these boundaries that people just do not know. Like are just basic human decencies, right? Like like not like trying to grope someone when you meet them, even no matter how big of a fan you are. Like people
Exactly.
have literally said that she should be okay with it since
Which
she has
is
stepped into the like crazy. So yeah,
which is so weird, because honestly, I don't think you would ever say about that about any
a
other
normal person.
woman. Like, if a normal person is going out there, would you just, I don't know, it feels so uncomfortable. And the
Great.
way we normalize such behavior around celebrities, especially women, I don't think you do that with men. Like, I have seen people going crazy about Shah Rukh Khan, for example, if we had to take an
Mhm.
Indian example. But still, there's
Yeah,
always that respect that is given to Shah Rukh Khan. Of course, there's difference in
absolutely.
terms of their careers and like the time they have spent in their careers. But maybe even as compared to any other, say Conan Gray, if I had to take an example, I don't see people going crazy on streets and being touchy with him as they would be safe with Sabrina or say Chappell. Because I don't know, I do think there's this one, feeling of entitlement to women and pop stars in
Definitely.
general, female pop stars in general. So like,
I agree
so
for sure. Like
iffy.
even Harry Styles for that matter, I don't know like if that's the best example, but like obviously you can like while like there's like a thin like never mind, let's just forget about that. That's that.
But this does get me to the politics of it all, because you know what? When I started following Chappell, she was so vocal about her thoughts, how she goes about, the general day to day politics of the things, how she called out how even the Democrats have such flawed policy, which is true. But at the same
Yeah,
time, it comes with, a lot of how she speaks, the tone policing, as I was stating, to the point that now Chappell has outrightly said that she doesn't want to be put on a political pedestal, because she was
definitely.
on that Call Her Daddy podcast. She was like, hey, don't look at me for your political answers. So, how do you
Exactly.
interpret that? Is she rejecting the responsibility or pointing out how industry weaponizes queerness? Because I think two things can be true at the same time, honestly.
I exactly agree with that. Like at first, when I heard the podcast, like when I heard her on Call Her Daddy, I was like, it gave me an ache that like, okay, somebody who is like okay, yeah, like you wanted to be this political person when it was like trying helping your career, but now that you are kind of receiving a backlash, you kind of want to back off. So like obviously that was a dilemma that I was in, like, oh, is this person just gonna turn into another celebrity who is like, now that it's like, skyrocketed their career, like they have used all these platforms, now that they no longer serve their purpose, they're just gonna mind their own business. That was the first thought that came. But obviously at the same time, she's a queer woman who is very young and like still figuring her own choices, her own like artistry, and like so many things. So I get it. Like I think there should be a balance in terms of like holding people already marginalized accountable versus like holding like other people accountable, right? Like actually hold like projecting the responsibility wala anger towards people who actually are perpetuating all of this
I
bullshit
get it.
instead of
Especially because when someone is taking that mantle out there, it's very important to give them that kind of grace also. Because, as you said,
definitely
she is young. People are like, oh my God, she's 26. Why is she acting like a high schooler? She's not. She's figuring out fame that she got out of nowhere, literally. Even she is very acknowledging of that one fact. And
true.
same, I had that ick when I heard it for the first time. But then I sat down to watch the entire podcast because that was just one clip that everyone was clipping out of that entire podcast. And I do feel to a certain extent that host, I forgot her name, I'm sorry, but like that host never pushed back against Chappell's ideas at any given point in time. She had a list of questions and she was just going at it because I still have that faith in Chappell Roan in a way that, given the kind of person she has been thus far, I think it's just a moment of feeling overwhelmed, which is fair because people come at her whenever she says anything. Within that
I
podcast, she
mean,
had
how
that.
many? Yeah,
Sorry,
I mean, how
sorry.
many celebrities actually talked about the genocide altogether for that matter?
Exactly,
She's literally
exactly.
one of the only mainstream artists who have talked about it.
Exactly. So I have my faith in her, and I do, critique the podcaster also to a certain extent because she never pushed back towards like the answer at any given point in time. Within that, she had that debacle, so to speak, quote unquote, when she went ahead and talked about her friends who were new mothers and how their lives are literal, like, I don't like to use that word when it comes to mothers, but it's hell because they have to do so much and their lives are no
Definitely.
longer there. So it was so understandable. And even in that regard, her tone was not bad at any given point in time. She was just looking at her friends that she does not have that kind of, experiences with
Mm.
anymore because of their responsibilities. So, especially in this one particular instance, I was like, her tone wasn't bad, so to speak. Still, people just come at her no matter what she does. So
Exactly.
the way she said that as well, like, hey, don't look at me for your political answers, it never felt like, when I saw it in the context of everything, it never felt like, hey, I will stop being political. It kind of
Mm.
felt like, hey, I am exhausted. Does that make sense?
Definitely. That is actually could not be put into better words. Definitely.
And that backlash she got recently where she was basically criticized for being uninformed, and that did spark a lot of debate. I mean,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to that one particular, pre-Trump win TikToks, when she was like, yeah, f the policies on the right, but f the policies on the left too. And even I was left like, hey, when you have that kind of pedestal, so to speak, even if you don't want to call it a pedestal, perhaps the stage that she has, the kind of attention she
The
has,
social capital she has.
yeah, she kind of has that kind of, responsibility to be a little exact about what policies are you really talking about. But at the same
Definitely.
time, I don't know where to draw that line. And do we have to draw that line? So, what do you think about that criticism? Is it fair, or do you think it missed something more important about how we treat rising pop stars? Because, as we have discussed, she is just rising. She has been in the public forum the way she has been just for a year and a half, honestly.
I think it just comes back to like not like scrutinizing the people who are actually trying, at least making an effort, right? And actually like calling out the people who are not doing any of that. Like again, like okay, let's not name names anyway. just
We
in
have
case I become like a
posters.
big, huge pop star one day and like this, like finally, like people will be like focusing on my tone and like I don't know. Moving
No,
on.
no way, I get you. I was like, I get that kind of criticism, but at the same time, honestly, it also comes from that fact, as you said, she used the platforms that she used to get to the place that she is. She has a blind fan following at this point. And I think a lot of times we have those kind of conversations when, like, queer people specifically capitalize on queer communities. And then if they don't give back, it's kind of iffy. But at the same time, she does give back. As I said, she platforms people. She giving an example from Grammy also. She talked about the trans people and how they are being persecuted in US on the red carpet of Grammy, which is such a big deal, of course, because of course it comes with a lot of backlash. But also when she was on the stage, when she was given that new artist award, she did talk about the fact that, hey, you're not treating your new artists nicely, so you need to give them health insurance, if I'm not wrong. That was the point. But at the same
Yeah,
time,
well,
my
better.
thought, yeah, my thought was her ideologies are very liberal in that regard. Like, she's not able to think beyond the structure that's given out there. Why is it that your healthcare is tied to an employer? Why is it not a human right, so to speak? Why is it not coming from a government, so to speak? Same time, then I was like, is it her responsibility to push people there?
Mhm.
But at the same time, then I was like, oh my God, what, she is the person who has the social capital to push the conversation there. So, oh my God.
It's such a I get it. Oh my God, literally my feelings exactly. Like this is like how I was with like Taylor Swift for so long.
I get you.
I do not necessarily like follow Taylor as extensively anymore. Anyway, I don't know. Like, let's skip that part also, I guess.
Okay, no, 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 fine, fine, fine.
But
But
yeah, no.
now that
Adding to
you,
you,
yeah,
yeah, definitely. I think like again, okay, I'm just gonna repeat that. Never mind. You go on.
yeah. Because I was like,
Absolutely.
now that we are on Taylor Swift as well, my next question would have
Yeah,
been,
that also I don't know. Like because like, are we supposed to be talking about Taylor Swift or are we just supposed to talk about Chappell?
no, no, it's fine because you, for all her faults, Taylor Swift has been someone who has like paved a path for a
Influence the
lot of
music
female
industry.
artists because it's so difficult. I can't even imagine being these girls, being in spotlight and always just there's no winning with women, honestly, sadly.
There
Like
isn't.
they
Exactly. I was gonna quote Taylor earlier also, like that one quote, like either you're too manipulative or like that, like I don't know. It's going in my head. I don't know the exact words, but yeah,
like you're always calculative but not a smart business woman. Like if it was a man,
that
it
one.
would be a smart move. Because you're a woman, you're so calculative. And
If I
with
were
Chappell, then it becomes that tone policing only. And I hate it so much because people are like, oh my God, she's lashing on her fans, she's shouting. She's not. Her
it's
tone,
saddening. She's just
and
being affirmative. Like again, if he was a man, he would just be asking for respect. But she's too angry and she's lashing out because obviously a woman is a mad woman, I guess.
always a mad woman. And add her like identity as a lesbian woman at that. All those tropes of lesbian women being angry and like all those things. Oh
Aggressive.
my God. Oh my God, stop.
That 40 minutes of Vaishnavi and Aditya scuffing. Just like
Oh my God. But yeah, she's clearly learning, like still learning how to carry the weight of visibility. So as a fan, what would you want her to know right now? Like, hey girl, we got you. But at the same time, if like she could hear one thing from a fan who gets her, what would you tell her? If she ever gets to hear this, oh my God, I wish she does.
that's crazy. But I mean, I hope it reaches her. I hope this podcast gets there. But yeah, I think I would just tell her. I would speak to Chapel because I don't think I get to tell anything to Kayleigh as such. But Chapel, I think you are great. I really respect how much effort you have put into everything that you've done, whether it's the visuals, whether it's the vocals, the talent that you have is like honestly just like out of the world. Obviously, like I think like you're doing a great job at taking criticism. Just like show up more and just keep being you.
We love you in this household.
We
Absolutely.
definitely do.
My issue with this kind of conversation with fans specifically has been people are like, get her a PR, manager. And okay, to a certain degree, it's not like people want her to censor herself. It's always like how she presents herself. But at the same time, I'm like, I want someone who's messy, who is real out there.
Yes, and yes, and yes. I mean, I'm sure she has a PR thing. Like, it would be crazy if she did not. I mean, like, I have this whole conspiracy theory of like how much of like things on the internet are even real for that matter. I think like the whole Rebel Kid is a brand, and like there are like all these like people behind her who are like controlling every single thing. But anyway, that's a conspiracy theory for like other time.
And a
But yeah,
different conversation altogether for
a
my
different conversation
non-Indian
altogether.
audience.
Definitely.
Rebel Kid is the like most controversial content creator and influencer right now in India. Although I do love her, I get where Aditya is coming from. Now that gets me to the music part of it finally, so that we can grab this album, the rise and fall of West Princess, because I absolutely love this album. Oh my god! But genuinely, let's ground this album because I want to do a thematic analysis eventually for this. When you listen
Mhm.
to this album, what jumps out first to you? Is it the emotional honesty or the sonic playfulness, the theatricality of it all, or is there something else entirely that I am missing out? Because these three things, of course, jump to me.
Definitely. I think all of those, like to like summarize it, it would be like authentic yodeling. Just like I think it's like a 50-minute album, like 50 minutes of Chappell Roan authentically yodeling and just like crying and moaning and like while yodeling. Like her song, like what was that song? Picture You. She's literally like it's such a sensual song. Oh my God. My Kink is Karma. Such a sensual song again.
Yeah.
So authentic, yodeling, moaning, just like everything queer again.
Yeah.
We love.
One thing that I absolutely love about this is especially that it's the joyful songs that jump out of this album in front of the general public, so to speak, the normies. And for us,
Mhm.
we have the sadness to contain with. And I absolutely love this because the expectation in general public so far that I have seen with my life or 23 years of my life is that, oh, queer artists, they're always going to be sad. They're always talking about their struggles, which is true. We like queer people do
Do
that.
we have too many?
Because where do we, where do we start? Where do we stop? But at the same time, then the only queer joy people see is at pride parades, and then people are like, okay, there's just two polar opposites here and never a spectrum. And I think
Yeah.
this album capsulates that very beautifully because yes, she's screaming, but yes, she's enjoying herself. Yes, she's talking about her sexuality in a very joyful manner. Hot to Go is my favorite song. Full stop. Like you can always have HOTTOGL. You
I'm not
can
even gonna
make
try it.
me hot to go.
That's he's got it.
I can do this. Like, I could be tired, I'd be doing it hot to go. I could be sick, I'd be doing hot to go. I would be in the train and I'd happily do hot to go because that's such a mood.
I know you can. I can tell. I know everyone can. Everybody who knows you can.
Oh my god. But there's strong tension in this record, as I was saying, in between joy and pain and power and insecurity, sitting side by side all together. But to you, which songs capture that tension the most and why?
I think like like I am a sucker for like sad sapphic anthems and like just like so like obviously for me like the ones that stood out were like where she's just like crying on and on and on and about everything that is wrong with her life. So like especially the hopeless romantic ones like I like so I remember like just like hearing like I went from feminine phenomenon to red wine supernova. I was like, yes, I have found my person because like honestly just channeling all of that hopeless romanticness for like the specific person and like that also like a lesbian choir anthem like loved it. but like a song that like captures the tension of like that happy, sad thing. Obviously, like I think it's a very cliche, but like Pink Pony Club, like it's like such an immaculate song in terms of how it just carries that bittersweet feeling of like being who you perfectly are, just like being the truest version of yourself, yet like leaving this version that you've known your entire life and leaving everything that you've known ever. Crazy how she's managed to capture both of those feelings at the same time in one fucking song.
Mind blowing. And the story behind the song in general, that she released it in 2020 and now finally it's getting its flowers. Oh my God. I love that song so much.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think there are enough words to express that, honestly.
Yeah,
But
and I think it's like a very, I would call it cringe. I think it's a very TikTok cringe song for people who just hear the chorus and like are like, okay, whatever. But again, for the normies, but when you listen to it, when you know what's the context, when you get the context, obviously, like it's generally one of the best choir anthems that can be, I
okay.
guess.
Telling your mama, being like, yes, I'm going to LA, I'm gonna dance at Pink Pony Club, and she's being like,
Take my have your
I think
time.
that as well, like how often in the West, like it's very hard for like us Eastern people to relate to a lot of like the Western queer songs because like it does not exactly capture that feeling of not being accepted, especially by your family or like whatever, like at least your loved ones or whatever. But like yeah, I think with like the Midwest area and like again the rise and fall of the Midwest princess, like I think she definitely has captured that essence as well very gracefully of not being understood by your loved ones. So yeah, that's what that
absolutely.
about.
It gets me to the Western, pop music scene, especially as you said. Like, it's having a big queer moment right now, albeit for us Eastern folks, Asian folks. I don't think it's very, indicative of our experiences. So, where do you think Chappell fits into that space? Because, yes, I relate to her, but at the same time, I always end up thinking, is she leading it or she's reacting to it or building whatever weird lane of her own? Because, sure, she is what she is. I don't think there's enough, at least, mainstream queer artists like Chappell Roan. I don't think there will be ever. Like, she's completely different. But at the same time, I think there can be quite conversation to be had in terms of how Lady Gaga is someone who paved the way in a certain way that it is comparatively easier for her, for Chappell, instead of like what Gaga had to work with, I guess.
For sure. I mean, like the allegations of like Lady Gaga being intersex, like that how that was like the mainstream focus of the news outlets for like the longest time. I don't even know what world they people millennials were living in
I
because that's
swear.
like I cannot even imagine something like that being a thing in 2025. We are exceptionally lucky. We do not we have our own struggles, yes, but like that's just like crazy. Like everybody wanting to know what is between your legs when you are doing like so much, when there is so much to talk about you, and that is what they want to focus on. I think that's disgusting.
I
So
know,
yeah, I
right?
mean, definitely, Lady Gaga has definitely paved the path for like people like Chappell Roan and anybody who's like out of the norm, like forget queer people, anybody, honestly.
That is true. But at the same time, I do think like Chappell is doing her thing. So if this album is her debut statement, what do you think she is trying to say? What does the rise and fall of Midwest Princess tells us about the world she lives in and the one she's trying to imagine? That was what I was trying to get at.
Hmm. I think exactly what I said earlier, like how like if you just like listen to the album like from the first song to the last song, I think she has managed to capture the entire storyline so beautifully of like everything that she had to say. Like every song tells a story about the world that she comes from, like and the struggles and the good parts of it and like maybe even like who she's trying to be. I think like from all of that I could gather that like she is definitely paving a path for herself. I don't think she's trying to fit into the like industry at all because like I was watching this video earlier like which talked about how bridges are disappearing from like mainstream pop songs, but Chappell Roan is known for her bridges. Like the bridge of Good Luck Babe is like crazy, the tension in it, the angst in it. It's just like it drives me nuts. I think it's one of the best bridges ever, especially because it's such a queer bridge and like such a queer feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think like she has definitely paved her own path, and I'm just excited to see like again, it's Chappell's world, we're living in it.
I am so excited for her country like rerouting
Mhm.
because like it's a very
Cunt.
interesting path to take, especially because it's so masculine, so to speak. Also because I have that kind of love for country music because of Taylor Swift to see that
Us
different
guitar
perspective.
girlies.
Yes, us guitar girlies. But like seeing that different perspective from queerness that Chapel will get to it, I am so excited for it. Also the
The
fact
Giver
that
is such a good song.
yeah,
Honorable mention, but yeah, move on.
the fact that you mentioned that bridges are going away from pop music, I specifically know what YouTube video you're talking about, and I'm like, oh my god, we're chronically online girlies here.
We need to like stop. We need a break from the internet.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. True. Okay, I'll be honest. I reach out for this album when I want to feel a little dramatic on purpose. So, do you have a personal relationship with it? Like, when do you play it, and how does it make you feel whenever you play this album, front to back?
I think the funniest part is like there's like I think there's a very distinct like the rise and fall can very well be distinctively just like be separated. Like if you want to like listen to the rise part, you know which songs to go to. You play it at a fucking party and you just have at it. But then when there's the fall, there's the fall. I think we are all like um I don't know victim to it. But I don't know what better word to use
We
it.
tumble
Uh
down and just reach out to the fall part of this album.
yes. Coffee, casual, California, picture you, we're all those girlies when we are breaking down and just like, yeah, those are the moments that I go to the album.
Casual is my go-to song when like any talking stage just falls off hinge, and I'm like,
So basically every other day. Like,
why did this call out? Oh my god.
yeah, yeah,
But oh my god,
yes.
that gets us to the end of this interview. Thank you so much, Aditya, for doing this. Oh my god, I can never
Really?
explain to people generally how grateful I am for my friends who are like musically inclined and they care about the politics behind it. So thank you so much for doing this.
I had a lot of fun. This was like that's another day, honestly, because I like yeah, like I could do this again and again and again. So yeah, thanks for having
Keep
me.
your word
All right.
for that then the next time I do say Lana or something.
Anytime.
Yes, got it. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Everybody follow Aditya. Aditya is a budding musician, and we have to always support budding musicians. Okay, Zoom abruptly and rudely stopped recording, but here's Aditya's music handle on Instagram. Go follow. Be good people. See you soon on the next one.